So some of you know that I recently spent 4 days on the Cape with about 100 other Unitarian Universalist clergy serving in the New England area. So many brilliant minds gathered in one place to worship and share and connect and learn together. And on day 3, Reverend Julica Herman de la Fuente, one of our faith's true living prophets, led us through a day-long workshop focused on embodied anti-oppression work. And she began this time by drawing a nice-sized circle on a really big whiteboard. And above it, she put the word knowledge. And then she drew just a small slice of kind of pie out of the circle. And in that circle, in that slice, she wrote, "Things that I know, I know. Things that I know, I know." Okay? And just next to this small slice, and another equal one that read, "Things I know that I don't know." Okay. Things I know that I know. Things I know that I don't know. And most of us might think that these two things, knowing what we know and knowing what we don't know, might make up most of the circle of knowledge. No. No. These two slices are actually only a very small part of the whole. They are otherwise known in anti-oppression work and in this particular philosophy as the comfort zone. I know what I know, things I know I don't know, comfort. The rest of it is the big old Miss Pac-Man now, if you want to imagine it. The things I don't know that I don't know. Yeah, that's outside the comfort zone. We now get, or are coming to get more and more, that transformative anti-oppression work, anti-racist work, collective liberation work, it happens outside our comfort zones. The realms of those knowing what we know and don't know. The magic, though, happens. And the reason this collective liberation work happens outside these comfort zones is because that is where the magic happens. That's what I'm trying to say. It happens from a place of I don't know what I don't know. So you might imagine a map. You get in a boat and you push off from the lands of things I know and things I know I don't know. And you start sailing into the uncharted waters of things I don't know I don't know. A whole world of new ideas and experiences that might change you, change the landscapes of even your known comfortable lands. For when you return, nothing is the same. Now, if you kept going further and further out, away from those comfort lands, out and out and out in your little boat, you get to the terra incognita. That's what cartographers called the unknown, unexplored territory. This is like the edge of the map, off the edge of the map, where you practically fall off of it. And like our cartographers of old, here's where you put the words, "Here be dragons." Probably seen this before on old maps, right? Way out there's the dragon or the sea monster, way out on the edge or in the middle of an unexplored ocean. scary. But the Here Be Dragons place is actually where the magic happens. All good quests to face or slay dragons come with the lessons of getting terribly lost, literally and psychically, right? And ultimately having to let go of the old way, within and outside of. Let go of everything one knows and believes in order to attune to a new way of living and being. When we created that circle together on the Cape, several of us requested that we name some things that might be floating around outside that comfort zone that our little boats are going over on the way to Here Be Dragons, that helps us know what keeps that boat even afloat, or what keeps us going, or fighting, or not turning back. Love, someone said. Faith. Justice. God. Companions. Heart. Possibility. A new way. Imagination. You probably have a lot of others, so think about them for yourselves. But listen, most of us tremble, understandably, at the thought of leaving shore. The fear of not knowing what's out there, who we might become if we let go of all we think we know, or have our comfortable, privileged worlds turned upside down. Psychic death at the hands of a dragon, you know. You can see why most of us just want to keep calm and carry on in our comfort zones. But the thing is, my dear friends, we aren't calm, really. And I don't think we're carrying on very well. I'm not finding the comfort zone very comfortable these days, are you? I'm worried about how human beings are living their lives right now. I'm worried that we've drawn too small and too flat of maps and have become so very resolved and certain about its scale and its borders and contours that we tend to think in this age of information there's nothing left to explore or not know about. We've got it all buttoned up. I turn on the radio, attend teachings, I read books, I read articles, and I find that most of what's being said, sure, brilliantly in many cases, it is either about imparting knowns or working out the variables of unknowns so that we can get to the knowns. So many think pieces and so little time. And oh, the terror. Oh, I can feel it in my own bones when we just don't know. I don't know. I really get that feeling. I too am afraid of not knowing. Oh my God, what if it's true that I don't know much of anything? Not knowing how it's going to turn out in my life, in the world, not knowing where I'm going or how to get there, not knowing where we're going or how we're going to get there. It's frightening, very unsettling. In our society, a person really has very little social capital or value with this mindset, you know. You don't get hired or promoted with, I don't know where I'm going or how to get there listed as your skills and qualifications. The paradox is some of our best leaders, though, are the ones who know how to say, I don't know where we're going. I don't know. Let's see. The not knowing what we don't know place, and I think this is why that is, really is the realm of great vision and great energy. Rich, transformative, powerful healing, creative possibility. And I worry that given the system we're all swimming around in, that many of us are atrophying these really vital muscles. And this atrophying is making people sick, burnt out, anxious, bitter, blaming, hoarding, catastrophizing, disconnected, lonely, faithless, hopeless, small, stuck. I think this is what's making our world sick, too. When worry like this grips my soul, I know it's time to get in the boat. That's the first thing. And it's time to turn to my wisdom keepers. Sometimes it's the kids on the rugs. The ones who are drawing different maps and reminding me of the infinite ways to explore them, draw them, imagine them. Who are sailing into those uncharted waters where the dragons be and telling about it again and again. Adrienne Marie Brown, there's one. The great social justice facilitator, healer, and visionary. She calls this moment of time that we are in an imagination battle. She says, quote, I often feel I am trapped inside someone else's imagination. One that tells me about borders and superiority, race as an indicator of capability, scarcity economics, and the end of days. I must engage my own imagination in order to break free. We have to imagine, she says, beyond the fears that inundate us. This is a time travel exercise for the heart. This is collaborative ideation, she says. What are the ideas that will liberate all of us? What we pay attention to grows, she says. So I'm thinking about how we grow what we are all imagining and creating into something large enough and solid enough that it becomes a tipping point. This is what the transcendentalist movement of the 1800s was all about, my friends. Our blessed Unitarian ancestors imagining a different way to believe and see and feel and stand amid slavery, the Indian Removal Act, war, gender oppression, the list goes on. Ralph Waldo Emerson used to write and preach about the transparent eyeball, where all egotism vanishes. And he says, I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle with God. The name of the nearest friend sounds then foreign and accidental. I am the lover of uncontained and immortal beauty. In the distant line of the horizon, humankind beholds, 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 he wrote. The world, Henry David Thoreau said, is but canvas to our imagination. These were radical insights in the 19th century. Transcendentalists like Thoreau, Emerson, Margaret Fuller, Emily Dickinson, Walt Whitman, Converse Francis. He's written, carved into our little plaque over there, right? Converse Francis, one of the previous ministers of this church, and his sister, Lydia Mariah Child, whose picture hangs in our conference room, and so many others. They would hold these secret meetings where thought and imagination, intuition, mysticism, philosophy would flow time out of time, no structure, no agenda, no minutes. In the boat they'd get, and off to sea they'd go. And it reshaped our religion. And then they'd write about it, and they'd preach about it, and share it, bring back the medicine for a sick, sick people at a terrible, terrible time. Our poet today writes, suppose, let, and let, what glorious medicine for us right now. Blessed be the wisdom keepers and explorers to help keep our boats from being sucked back into shore. This is who we are as Unitarian Universalists. The Transcendentalist movement, it shaped us into who we are now. Living a faith, a personal, minute-to-minute faith that challenges the allure of comfort and fixed, static, knowing and certainty, both in belief and in the structures of society with which we live. I draw so much courage from these religious visionaries, and you can see why many of them in the 1960s were called upon by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to link up arms with him in his movement to dream a new dream. Yeah. He was deeply related to our religion because he knew we were dreamers like him. The fact is, we're dangerous when we use our energy to grow what we dream into something large enough that it becomes a tipping point. Oh yes. Collaborative ideation, the imaginings that could liberate us within and beyond, as Adrienne Marie Brown says, this threatens the whole system. I like feeling dangerous. I don't feel like I need to even ask you this question. It feels rhetorical, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Don't you want to be aligned with birthing something new? Yeah. My imagined world that I try to devote every day to creating is a universalist world where all are deserving of love. All are loved. That's our universalist theology. Where love spreads, and it starts with me. How I greet people, hug them, smile at them, write to them, apologize to them, thank them, extend grace and mercy to them, listen to them, companion them, pray for them. All people. That is what I try for every day. And I work to imagine that every small act of this imperfect but steady love I have to give is carried forward and forward and forward. That's my imagining. And most days I'm just trying to keep my boat out there, you know? Oh, how that current does want to pull it back to shore, but I'm doing my best to keep it out there in those deep waters where the dragons are so that I can still be surprised by humanity. Surprised by the multitude of ways to love and be loved, so that I can believe in miracles and changes of heart and redemption and compassion and those total rearrangements of soul in people that it's so hard to imagine, but that it's possible, that spans beyond my wildest imagination. That's why I keep my boat out there, to continue to try to be surprised by humanity. I don't know what else there is. And this is just the small part I feel I play in this big dream, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm standing up here as your minister saying, I don't know. I don't know. Let's listen to the words of our poet just once more. Book of Genesis. That's the great creation story in the Hebrew Bible. Let there be light, let there be, let there be, let there be, says God. Suppose there was a book full only of the word let, from whose clipped sound all things began. Fur and firmament, feather, the first whale. And suppose we could scroll through its pages every day to find and pronounce a let meant only for us. We would stumble through the streets with open books, eyes crossed from too much reading. We would speak in auto rhyme. The world would echo itself, and still we'd continue in rounds saying let and let and let, until even silent dreams had been allowed. You know why I believe I can stand up here and look at you and say, I don't know, and feel that to be good? Because, dear friends and dreamers, you're a let people. And this makes you a brave people. You march to the beat of your own drum. You're scrappy. You're resourceful. Deeply creative. You tear church buildings down to dream new dreams. You love your neighbors. You love big. You fight for justice even when you're scared. You are really good at forgiveness and practicing imperfection and offering grace when our humanness gets the best of us. Your map has never been small or drawn in indelible ink. I've come to know that about you. You joyfully sing songs of seeking and wondering and growing and I don't knowing, and we're in this boat togethering with spirit and heart because you mean it, or you're trying to mean it. I couldn't think of a better place to be a minister with a better people. In many ways, you are already chartering waters that are deep and vast and wild simply by being here, even if this is your first time in this tilted moment that we are living through. And I don't say all of this so that you can sit back and get comfy and congratulate yourselves, but rather so that we can keep going and resist the urge to turn back, to stay in the imagination battle, because that's where you want to be. Because it makes us dangerous in all the best ways. Here and there be dragons, yes, but let them come. Let them come. Let and let until even our silent dreams can be allowed. And to that I say, may it be so, and so it is, and amen. I love you.